Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Hi everybody. This is going to be a short video. We're just touching on a couple of things. The first thing is going to be, I'm going back to that tweet that Omen put out where he made sure the Sugars knew that William and Kate were on a private jet. We're going to touch at the very end about the private jet that Harry and Meghan took from New York and back and who provided that. Lastly, we're going to look at Diana the Musical, which came out on October 1st. All right, stick with me. Here we go. That text from Scooby, which we'll be looking at in a minute, really got me thinking when he wrote about how dare basically William and Catherine take a private jet. But when I went back and looked at Harry and his wife's jet usage, there's a big discrepancy. What Scooby forgot to mention in his tweet is that of the 21 jet trips that were taken by Harry and Meghan from 2019 to 2021, how many of those were personal? From my count, 13 to 15 of those were personal trips. They were not business. They were just going on vacation. They were going to France. They were going to Nice. They're going here. They're going there. They're going to polo matches. They're going to New York, etc., etc. They're private trips. They're not business. So that's why I really found this tweet to be really unfair, because he's making sure the Sugars know that they took a private jet, but he's forgetting to mention that this was business. This was not personal time, okay? I think that's very, one-sided. Anyway, I went back to look at all the work. This is just Catherine's work for 2019, 2020, the engagements. And by the way, these are not all the ones that are with William either. And then here's 2021 up until September. That's as far as it went. Truth is, William and Catherine are two of the hardest working royals. Yes, I know Charles does more, but these two have 3 small children. But I just found it interesting. Yes, they've taken overseas flights to Ireland and Pakistan, places like that. But other ways, they take a car, they take the royal train, they fly commercial. We know how that works with them. So to make a long story short on this story, I think Omit's tweet was extremely unfair because he forgot to point out that William and Kate were actually working for the crown. This was not a personal flight. Also, as I found pointed out on Twitter, it wasn't a private jet. It was a plane from the RAF, something that Harry did throughout his whole life when he was working as royal. Not to mention it wasn't announced because apparently there were some security risks due to where they were going. But I love what this person wrote at the bottom. Semantics are the tool of a poor reporter, but an excellent guide to those who have been bought and paid for. Dude, spot on. Okay, this next story where Dan Wooten said that Harry should resign from Netflix, then he's nothing more than a hypocrite. But we already knew he was a hypocrite. Come on. This musical is so offensive and degrading, the way they talk about Princess Diana. In terms of accuracy, the article says that it makes the series The Crown look like a royal encyclopedia of truth. They're saying that she used HIV patients for publicity and she attacked Margaret Thatcher for her politics. You guys know, again, how much I love Australian news because they say it like it is. And here's what they had to say about this.
Sophie, I'm also curious. Prince Harry used to be very noisy in attacking the media for its coverage of his mother, Princess Diana, but he then signed a mega-million-dollar deal with Netflix and now says nothing when he runs the most trashy musical about his mother that also makes his grandmother, the Queen, seem like a real cow. Sophie, has Harry said a word about the show on the Netflix channel that signed him up?
Well, Andrew, funnily enough, I can't find Harry coming out screaming about this. What a moment of trashiness was that we just put our viewers through. But I will say this woke couple, this is a case of don't bite the hand that feeds you. And Netflix are putting food on their table because they've signed multi-million-dollar deals with them. So Harry and Meghan have gone extremely quiet, which is highly unusual for this couple who seem to mouth off about everything and lecture us on what's right and what's wrong. I think this musical, from what I've seen, the snippets, it looks absolutely shocking. The reviews have been awful. And I think it completely goes against his stance against the media and his portrayal of his mother, yet he's said absolutely nothing.
So let's be honest, since these two have hired all of these people to get their Netflix stuff off the ground, there's no way in hell that they're going to resign from Netflix or say anything bad about Netflix. According to the article, Diana is portrayed as frumpy, haughty, old-fashioned, posh, and cold-hearted. They said there's nothing about her vulnerability, her heart, her spirit, nothing of that. And as a matter of fact, they said in the musical, Diana gets a harder time about her affair with James Hewitt than Charles gets about Camilla. And it accuses the monarchy of pressuring Charles to marry Diana, even though her own son portrayed his love for Camilla in front of her. So they're calling Harry now Hollywood Harry, the prince of hypocrisy and greed. But Dan Wooten did say he'll take those comments back if he announces his resignation from Netflix in the next week, which is something we all know won't happen. As for you guys, my fabulous followers, I beg you, not even out of curiosity, do not watch this. Don't even tune in. Let it have horrible ratings and let Netflix pull it. Never going to happen. As a matter of fact, it would not surprise me at all if what you're reading above now comes true, that they're going to sell iconic outfits, rings, toilet bowls, wedding dresses, anything having to do with Diana. He's like totally selling the memory of his mother, but he knows he's doing this, so okay. Finally, I want to touch on the private jet that whisked Harry and Meghan and their entourage to New York and back again. You know, they're always taking jets that belong to other people. The jet to Elton John's house was paid by Elton John. The jet otherwise that they went for her birthday was paid by the Clooneys. The jet that they took, or that Harry took back from playing polo, was owned by another friend. Well, we wondered, did they pay for this jet? And of course, it finally came out that they actually flew home on a jet owned by a marketing company here in the United States, Gunther Ranker. This company is well known for its infomercials, so you have to wonder if they're trying to get Meghan to do an infomercial. I have to tell you, once again, anything that this woman touches seems to fail. You know, people are so put off by them. So when this next blind item came out, which we all know they're pretty spot on, it didn't shock me. The blind item basically says, don't believe the hype. She's not planning to do infomercials or sell makeup or anything else. And I think it's because she realizes that, first of all, nobody's going to buy her products. And number two, due to the way she behaves, I think she believes that it's beneath her. Those people wasted their money. Look at this picture of Harry. This is a newer picture of him. His eyes just look so haunted to me. Like he knows that he has sold his soul to the devil, but he feels like he's so far in he can't get out anymore. I mean, do you guys see that in his face and his eyes? Ugh. So what do you guys think about Omid's tweet? Do you think it was fair what he did? Because I don't. What do you guys think about Diana the musical? I will absolutely not be watching it. I pray that you guys don't either. And finally, what do you think about the infomercial people giving Harry and Meghan a free ride on their jet? Yeah, nothing's for free. I'm interested to see what's going to come out of that one. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future uploads. Don't forget to leave your comments below. I really love reading them. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to write my email address down. Don't forget about my coffee fund. And as always, you guys, have a great day.